have not done this in a while, and I woke up one day and thought I like doing these videos. And as I'm talking to you, I'm actually away right now, I'm abroad, I thought, well, we can do this the week before all my videos do need to go live, and we can talk about it because, of course, I can't react to anything because I won't be able to make content when I'm away. This is information you do not need. But I like ranking all the WWE champions in terms of best to worst. That is way too strong. It's just the titles I have least interest in based on the booking, nothing to do with the person holding them. And the one at the top that I think is the best, I've gone with 11, There's 11 on the main roster. I've so forgotten one. Let's do it. The number 11 is the MFTs and the Smackdown tag team titles. It just is, it's only one feud. It's only them versus the Wyatts, which is crazy because I really like the Wyatts. I think they're underutilized. And Solo Sikoa got in number 10 of my Wrestlers of 2025 list because he entertains me. I'm not getting into this whole, well, who had the best matches? Who did I enjoy watching? That's how I review things. This is my life and I want to be entertained when I watch my entertainment programs. But this stuff is not good. I love the fact that Tama Tonga finally is sort of, going into that US title picture because Jeff Cobb's in the background. Tala and the tallest Tonga doesn't do anything. Tangaloa obviously is the best ever, but he doesn't do much. Solo Sikoa is great. We just need to, completely merge, as far as I'm concerned, the Raw and the SmackDown tag team belts, because all of a sudden you have so many more teams. Because even if I was going to sit here right now and trying to fantasy book everything, I'm like, I don't even know who I would put where. And the fact that the Wyatts and the MFTs is still going, I just think is crazy. And of course, it's going to keep going until the Wyatts get their lantern back. And I like the emotional significance. I really do. And Bray Wyatt is one of the most creative dudes to ever walk through any archway of professional wrestling. But it's still quite funny to hear someone say, I know, you've stolen my lantern. And I want it back. I just don't think there's a lot of worth in these titles right now because we just don't do anything much with them. Like the Wyatts obviously had it before the MFTs, and then I try and remember who the Wyatts won them off, and I actually don't remember, right? I actually can't remember. And that could be a me problem. I will give you that. But once again, I think the Raw and the tag team scene of the men's side should be merged together, maybe even bring the NXT ones into it as well. Let people go all over the place. I think the women have proven that has worked. At the moment, this one is just a bit dull. I hate to say it, but I'm done with this feud and we need to move on. Which is why I put Julia in the US Women's Championship at number 10. Now, in terms of worth and what WWE has done, that should be the bottom. But because at least I've seen the Wyatts be pushed and the MFTs be pushed, again, Solo Sikoa is a major dude on the show, it kind of just means it knocks it down one more. There's not much to say about the US Women's Championship, which is such a shame. I'll probably get the timeline wrong, but it went from Chelsea Green to Zelina Vega to Julia, back to Chelsea Green, back to Julia. It's just been a tennis match. I think there was even a report that came out that WWE launched it too early, didn't really know what to do with it. Again, Chelsea's 2 reigns haven't really allowed Chelsea to shine as she could do. Still good because Chelsea can take anything and makes it work. But Julia loses in tag team matches, and sometimes I forget that belt even exists. I'm hoping it's going to be Io Sky versus Julia at WrestleMania because I think that's such a big time match. People will be interested. But the belt itself feels a little bit like where the Intercontinental title one was, in fact, lower down than that, before Gunther went on that 666-day reign. And of course, the super exciting thing when new WWE became new WWE, if we're going to call it that, is that all of a sudden the secondary belts felt like they had meaning again. And now that's kind of swam away a little bit, which is such a massive shame because we all know Julia is great. Really, this comes down to the booking of Julia ever since she's been called up to the main roster. Don't understand her relationship with Kiana James, never really been explained. She's lost way too many matches, doesn't have the same fire she had down at NXT. Arguably not being paired up with the right people. So yeah, in 2026, as I sit here on February the 18th, I believe it is, we really need to fire this up a lot more. It's not in the best place. This is when things get a little bit harder, but I have already told you how I feel about the tag team scene. And listen, I think the Usos could be top 3 WWE tag team of all time, maybe top 5. I'd have to sit down and think about that, but they're brilliant. I love Jimmy Uso. I love Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso gets way too much flack. I think he's become somewhat of a black sheep of the wrestling world. People just take shots at him for no reason, but it's not like we're doing much with the Raw tag team titles at the moment. I do think it'll be the Vision feuding with the Usos in terms of where I am talking about now and long-term story bookings, but once again, it's not really much has happened. We should have given it to the New Day when they turned heel like a year and a half ago, and we didn't. Ever since then, it's kind of just plodded along. Like Finn Balor and JD McDonough had it, but they never defended it, and the War Raiders were there, but they didn't really do anything, and the Creeds were sniffing around it sometimes. They're not sniffing around it. They're just persona non grata belts, right? They don't have any focus on Raw. No one actually ever seems to desperately want them, apart from the New Day that turns up and goes, give me the titles, and then we never get that match anyway. I would kind of like it to be the Usos versus the New Day, at WrestleMania, because I think with the right build and tying it into both their histories, you really could make this feel like a massive deal, but I don't think WWE is going to do that. There's just not much to say about it, really. And like I say, they probably will go into a feud with two members of the division, which should help because they're a top heel group. But the Raw Tag Team division has been lost for a long old while. That's the reason I didn't like Obafemi beating up the War Raiders. Now, of course, I liked Obafemi throwing around big dudes. Obafemi is the greatest professional wrestler alive, walking the planet. But it just reminded you, oh yeah, WWE couldn't give a damn about the Raw Tag Team division. And the fact there is no real feuds or no specific one, or if you were going to sit down and map it up, you'd actually have to sort of take teams that we have or make new teams and put them on complete trajectories that WWE isn't planning. It's not like you can take the Lego pieces we do have and build a sensible thing. You absolutely have to change what WWE is doing, which is a huge shame. I don't think that made any sense. I think that's absolute gibberish, but hopefully you take my point. I think always when we have a championship, you should be able to go, well, come X, we can do Y, and we can do Z. Now you got to pull in a Q, and nobody ever wants to pull in a Q. They ain't great. Number 8, Jade Cargill in a Smackdown women's title, only because she only defended it once in 100 days, over 100 days. The Jordynne Grace match was good. I think Jordynne Grace is very, very talented. But even now, sort of on the cusp of the Elimination Chamber, people are saying it could be Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. But that's basically the match that we've just done. So we're going from one feud to another feud, then back to that feud. I'm hoping it's Rhea Ripley. That would be exciting. But even then, I think Rhea Ripley should win. It's not Jade Cargill's fault. For some reason, WWE just doesn't put her in matches. And she doesn't need to be in 15-minute long title programs. She can just have 5-minute matches. It worked in AEW. I know we're not allowed to say that. Oh my gosh, the walls are burning down. But she was super duper over in AEW. She's still over in WWE. People react. But I really think we could push her strengths more, and I don't know why we're doing it. But you can't have a belt for over 100 days and defend it once and expect it to have massive equity, especially because sometimes on the show, it gets like 35 seconds of airtime. Jade Cargill bumps into someone and goes, man, I'm going to beat you up. And that's it. That was with B-Fab and somebody else. I can't even remember now. And then very sadly, they got injured. Mia Yim. So that's way more important. But it also meant, once again, when you're watching the TV, you're like, oh my gosh, we're back to square one. And again, the thought of going back to Tiffany Stratton, or they're always interacting with Nia Jax. Like, I love Nia Jax. Nia Jax is great. It's not what it once was. And it's another thing that probably does need a bit of a whoop up that took us, hence why it's here. Number 7 is Dominic's IC title. Now, I understand you sort of snapping back at me against that because he's done nothing in 2026. But this is really about how it makes me feel about the belt. Now, he has been injured, which allows me to caveat it in my brain. I'm also getting excited that Finn Balor may be about to feud with Dominic for it. And Dom did do an okay job with it in the latter part of 2025. A much better job once he originally won it at WrestleMania. All of that was excellent. So it has gone downhill. And I think if we were talking a year or so ago, this would absolutely have been higher. But because Dominic Mysterio is such a good character and because he is over, and because at least we talk about that championship, and he's going to defend it soon. He talked about that on Raw. I do think it blasts up a few notches, and maybe it's just because of the nostalgia of the title, the allure that it has to me as a long-time fan. That could be coming into my thinking as well, but I've whacked him here. It's a little bit average at the moment. I've said that on all my videos. I've talked about it, but I hope the WWE is going to change that going into WrestleMania, and more importantly, I hope they change it after too. Number 6 is Stephanie Vaquer's Raw Women's Championship, only because, and I think it could be down to her injuries, she too, like when she won it, it's not like we were off to the races with all these crazy feuds. Once again, I just think WWE didn't pull the trigger fast enough, and a lot of it felt wishy-washy and weird. Very excited about Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania. I think that will be really good. But other than that, if you told me, Simon, tell me the best part about the Stephanie Vaquer reign, I'd probably say the Nikki Bella feud, because at least Nikki Bella turned heel, and we made it a little bit fun. But otherwise, and I'm not just talking about the ankle, I'm talking about longer than it. I kind of feel like Stephanie Vaquer won, and then not because of her, because of the situation she was put in. That title too lost some of its momentum, which is a massive shame, because Stephanie Vaquer, in terms of in-ring, is one of the best people WWE has. It has been very strange, and that's why when she was taking on Raquel Rodriguez, I was actually advocating for Raquel to win. That would probably be the highlight, actually. I thought Raquel really did well in that feud. I thought she sort of stood out in a way that she hasn't done before. But I kind of said she could win here, and then maybe Stephanie Vaquer wins it back just to breathe some life back into that belt, because at the time not a lot was happening, and if somebody's on a fire run, we'll always sit down and put our nerd caps on and go, well, we can't possibly take it off them at the moment, because it wouldn't be the right time. I think any time would be the right time, until of course Liv Morgan won the Rumble, and we started to tease that too. So it's not terrible, because again, Stephanie is so good, it always gives it something, but it definitely could be better, and I think WWE should be focusing on it. Number 5 is Becky Lynch, Intercontinental title. I really had to think about this because I don't, personally, the AJ Lee stuff hasn't worked for me so far. It doesn't mean they can't turn it around on Raw. Of course they can. I think they'll have the 2 matches at the Chamber and Mania, and that could be awesome. But I want to remember what she's done with it as well. And all the stuff with Maxine Dupree was fun, and the live Valkyria stuff, maybe it was a little bit of a blip, and the Bayley stuff. I mean, that really was good. In the middle part of 2025, I understand I'm going back a long while here, that is the best and the biggest that belt had ever felt. We really, really were putting a lot of love into it, which I guess gives me hope that we can do it again. And if AJ Lee does win it at WrestleMania, and then we do the Roxanne Perez feud, and we really, once again, lean into all the stuff that Roxanne Perez can talk about AJ Lee, I think you'll have the emotional attachment too. Lara Valkyria needs to go after this belt because if Becky Lynch isn't champion, she's allowed to, which is a bit strange. But I still think overall, when you look at it, everybody that's had that championship has done a decent job in elevating it, which is the point. Like, I put it above the men's Intercontinental Championship, and when Gunther had it especially, nobody would have said that. And when you compare it to the women's US title, oh my gosh, it's night and day. I can't even imagine how these two things can exist in the same universe. But that's the benefit of putting it on someone like Becky Lynch, who is a superstar, and some people think she's too funny or too over the top. And maybe that's been true in the feud she's just done now with AJ Lee. I don't think that was their intention. I just don't think it landed in the way that they were expecting. But she's still done a phenomenal job. I don't want to be too reactionary here or do recency bias and only think about the last few weeks. Becky Lynch is a superstar. She's done wonders for that belt. I really do think she's put a lot of effort into it, and I do like it, and I do care about it, and I am interested in who's going to win it next. Number 4 is the women's tag team titles. I am so happy they're this high, and I had to debate it too. They're almost number 3, and wait till you see who number 3 is. That goes to show how much I do like them. I just think Rhea Ripley and Io Sky have been wonderful. They've used their star power. They use their great in-ring action. They do defend them all the time. The belts haven't vanished for the first time in ages. Usually they'd be on a roll, and then you'd be like, where'd they go? Why they're not being defended anymore? Such a good decision. I actually think they will lose them before WrestleMania, but Rhea Ripley and Io Sky have done their justice with these things, and the women's tag team division has always been good. I'm not kidding you not. You can go back to Sasha Banks and Bayley, you can go back to Sasha Banks and Naomi, you can go back to so many different times. Like even when, who the hell was it? Jade and Bianca had it, and they were good too, and I can't remember their names now. It's Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They went, even that was good in Scotland, but that's when it went away for a while and eventually came back. Anytime you give this to someone and you allow them to run wild, there's just something cool about it, and I guess that's a massive tip of the hat to the women's division. So in at number 4 and super close to number 3, like I care what happens to these belts. And if Rhea and Io do lose them before WrestleMania, whoever does pick them up has to carry this on. It's massively important. Look, I'm doing karate hand, which goes to show how much I do like this. I'm not saying, oh, I've been such a big supporter and they did this for me, if it sounds like that, but I've just loved them for years now because there has been so much potential, and dare I say it, finally it's been realized. Because, yeah, number 3 is Drew's WWE title. I put that in a 4 first. I thought, no, Drew McIntyre is doing good work. It's just been so crazy because no one actually knows what he's doing at WrestleMania. We presume Cody Rhodes, but are we going to jam Jacob Fatu in there as well? Drew McIntyre's been a great champion. The way he won the cell, his promos, the way he fired back at Roman Reigns and CM Punk, I think is underrated. All the screwing of Cody Rhodes and all that stuff, the interactions with Jacob Fatu, yelling at other people as well. Then Drew McIntyre is doing a phenomenal job, and it would be remiss of me to take that away from him. I think I was just getting too excited about other belts. However, I didn't put him in number 2. That's mostly because I thought somebody else deserved a massive salute. But Drew McIntyre is fantastic, and I'm so happy he's getting to have this run in front of people because he should have had it back in the pandemic. Obviously, we know what happens here. He won't come out of WrestleMania with this championship. I think he'll lose it to Cody or Jacob Fatu. I'd be happy with either of them. But he feels like the WWE champion. He had to win on that Smackdown, otherwise he would have been persona non grata and probably wouldn't be able to get back to the main event scene for a long old time. I just think sometimes people they get what they want, then all of a sudden they turn on it, and I don't want to do that. And I realize, what am I talking about? What has Drew done that's been bad? Drew McIntyre was even happy to get beaten up 3 times on that one episode of SmackDown before he finally got his lick in, and all the stuff he's been doing with Sami Zayn. I like Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is great, and he's having a pretty damn good run. But I thought in 2026, maybe to do a bit of recency bias, I am going to put the men's US title in there. Who knew it could get this high? Mostly because I've been loving every single thing that Carmelo Hayes has done. So excited for his WrestleMania match. I have no idea what it's going to be. I presume it would be a ladder match with multiple people, maybe a Ilya Dragunov, a Matt Cardona, a Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe even a Tama Tonga. You do not know. But all the matches with Ilya, like I say, the match he had with, who the fuck? There's so many now, I can't even remember. The Miz, even the Miz match was brilliant. I shouldn't say that. It's me tying into internet speak. The Miz is great. Let's not pretend pretend The Miz doesn't know what he's doing. He's always entertaining as well. But every single thing that Carmelo Hayes has done has been brilliant. We finally given him the ball. He then cut that promo, and that was good too, and the fans loving they're behind him. Who knew when he was such a good heel in NXT that he would come up and actually find his place, being such a damn good guy? But he just hasn't dropped the ball, as I repeat myself by accident. But as soon as WWE finally said, all right, you're the US champion, go out there and show us what you can do, he has totally smashed it. And long may this continue. Genuinely. I hope he gets to WrestleMania with this title. But all those guys that I just mentioned, there'll be a couple of others as well. I'm not saying hot potato like the Attitude Era, but if you can make it work and you can make it kick gear, stay alive. I mean, even the Sami Zayn Carmelo Hayes match that we did, or at least the Sami Zayn run, I should say, into the Ilya Dragunov run, into the Carmelo Hayes run, all of this has made that title feel super duper important. And yes, we're relying on cheap tricks like open challenges, but it doesn't matter if it's a cheap trick if it works. And I think it is working. Every single week, my brain says, oh, I wonder what Carmelo Hayes is going to do. And that sort of rhymes, so it must be true. So massive salute to Carmelo Hayes and to Ilya and Sami Zayn, because they all made sure they put this together. I would argue it started with the Sami Zayn John Cena match, and all of a sudden from there, WWE has just kept it so damn simple. Go out there and have a good match. Sometimes that's all it needs. That will wear thin eventually, but at the moment, 2. Which means number 1 is CM Punk and the World Heavyweight Championship. Massive props to CM Punk, because when that belt was first born into this world, remember what everyone said? Poor Seth Rollins had to bust his ass to try and make it mean something. Well, now it means something. And again, that's because of what Seth did, and because of what Punk did, and because of what everybody else did. I don't want to pretend otherwise. And Gunther as well, of course, he has to get a mention as well. But CM Punk, in all of his feuds, makes his programs feel important. Be that with Seth Rollins, be that with Finn Balor, be it with Bron Breakker, be it with Paul Heyman, be it with The Vision, and now be it with Roman Reigns. The fact that Roman is going after it, of course, elevates it as well. And it's a belt that Roman has never worn in terms of that design. Obviously, the World Heavyweight Championship has existed before. I think it's just Punk, and that's going to wind some people up. And Seth Rollins too, because he had to do the groundwork here, and we wouldn't get that. As did Gunther, I'm repeating myself. But when we did the Bron Breakker CM Punk match, it really felt like it meant something on the debut Netflix episode of 2026. And because Punk takes it seriously, and because Punk takes himself seriously, just naturally, you just start taking it seriously. And I'm super excited for that Roman Reigns CM Punk match. And I think that championship being on the line has done the world of good for it. Now, of course, if you're going into Legacy, the WWE title is always going to be there. But this championship's been around for, 3 years, maybe 2.5, maybe it's a bit longer, and I'm getting confused. But it is brand new, and right now I think its stock is higher than ever. So I thought it did deserve the number 1 position. I don't think it's ever been in the number 1 position before. We've already done this a couple of times. But CM Punk is a man of his word. I know he is a divisive figure. If you don't like him, you're not going to like this. I'm a big fan of his work. I'm a big fan about how he approaches everything. Even the Finn Balor stuff has been great, and Finn Balor been desperate to win that championship as well, to essentially, in his mind, save his career. It's not even a contest. Like I say, 3 and 4 I was erring, but number 2 and especially number 1, I was like, nope, that's exactly how I feel. Now, some of these you won't agree with at all, which I'd totally like to hear, so drop me a comment below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which will be me ranting and raving about wrestling too. I'd massively appreciate if you did watch it and interact with all the stuff down there. Otherwise, it's grillermind.com/Simon. Just go to Simon, get 10% off. Patreon.com/Simon316. Search for Under the Mat on YouTube and sign up for my Between Two Furs interview type series. I like doing them. I did them 10 years ago. I think if you actually watch one, I think you'll laugh as well, if that is your type of humor, of course. Simon316 on social media, and then it is Pro Wrestling Tees, Cameo, and TikTok, where you can find a bunch of my wrestling clips too. I appreciate you, my friends. I think this is the last video that's going up before I do return, so I will see you for the Elimination Chamber review. Take care. Goodbye.